Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk regarding models of cell membrane structure. What is cell membrane? Membranes are one of the most common features of the biological world. With the exception of some viruses, all living things depend on membranes. They cover cells and separate cellular contents from the external environment. Now we talk first about the history. The story of how we came to understand membranes, however, begins not with biology but with the chemistry. The first membrane model to be accepted by the majority of scientists was proposed by Danieli and Davison in 1935. James F. Danieli was trained as a physical chemist. Although much of his work was related to biology, working in Harvey's lab, Danieli had found that proteins could be adsorbed to oil droplets obtained from mackerel eggs. These findings would later become a major component of the membrane model proposed by Danieli and Davison. The model proposed by Danieli and Davison was basically a sandwich of lipids covered on both the sides with proteins. Later versions of the model included active patches and protein-lined pores. This was the basic model for membrane structure, accepted by biologists for many years. It was, however, inadequate in explaining many of the findings of later research. In 1957, J.D. Robertson proposed a modified version of the membrane model, based primarily on electron microscope studies, which he called the unit membrane. Under the high magnification of the transmission electron microscope, membranes have a characteristic trilaminar appearance, consisting of two darker outer lines and a lighter inner region. According to the unit membrane model, the two outer darker lines are the protein layers and the inner region is the lipid bilayer. During the 1960s and early 1970s, textbooks generally included an electron micrograph illustrating the unit membrane, and biologists described the membrane as a lipoprotein sandwich. It was not to last longer because a major change in the understanding of membrane structure was underway. The unit membrane model was eventually replaced in the early 1970s by the current model of the membrane. This model, known as the fluid mosaic model, and which was proposed by biochemists S. J. Singer and Garth L. Nicholson. The model retains the basic lipid bilayer structure first proposed by Gotter, Grendel and modified by Danieli, Davison and Robertson. The proteins, however, thought to be globular and to float within the lipid bilayer rather than form the layers of the sandwich type model. The hydrophobic tails of the phospholipids, the major lipid component of the membrane, face inward away from the water, and the hydrophilic heads of the phospholipids are on the outside where they interact with the water molecules in the fluid environment of the cell. Floating within this bilayer are the proteins, some of which span the entire bilayer and may contain channels or pores to allow passage of molecules through the membrane. The entire membrane is fluid. The lipid molecules move within the layers of the bilayer, while the floating proteins also freely move within the bilayer. The nature of these membrane proteins was studied by Unwin and Henderson in 1984. They found that the portion of the protein that span the lipid bilayer is hydrophobic in nature, example similar to the lipids forming the bilayer, and arranged in a three-dimensional shape, often in the form of an alpha helix. Since 1972, the fluid mosaic model has been modified because of more recent discoveries, such as those of Unwin and Henderson in 1984. But it still remains the model preferred by biologists today. It explains the current knowledge of membrane structure and also serves as the basis for our understanding of how membranes functions. It has a long history as back as at least to the time of Pliny. Like most of the modern science, the fluid mosaic model resulted from the cumulative work of numerous individual scientists. Now we further discuss cell membrane structure in detail and its characteristics. First of all, we discuss the fluidity of membranes. Membranes are not static sheets of molecules locked rigidly in place. A membrane is held together primarily by hydrophobic interactions, which are much weaker than covalent bonds. Most of the lipids and some of the proteins can shift about laterally, that is, in the plane of the membrane. It is quite rare, however, for a molecule to flip-flop transversely across the membrane. Switching from one phospholipid layer to the other, to do so, the hydrophilic part of the molecule must cross the hydrophobic interior of the membrane. The lateral movement of hydrophospholipids within the membrane is rapid. Adjacent phospholipids switch positions to almost 10⁷ times per second, which means that a phospholipid can travel about 2 micrometer distance, the length of many bacterial cells, in 1 second. Proteins are much larger than lipids and move more slowly, but some membrane proteins do drift and some membrane proteins seem to move in a highly directed manner, perhaps driven along cytoskeletal fibers by motor proteins concentrated to the membrane protein cytoplasmic regions. On the other hand, many other membrane proteins seem to be held immobile by their attachment to the cytoskeleton or to the extracellular matrix. A membrane remains fluid as temperature decreases until finally the phospholipids settle into a closely packed arrangement and the membrane solidifies, much as bacon grease forms hard when it cools. The temperature at which a membrane solidifies depends on the types of lipid it is made up of. The membrane remains fluid to a lower temperature if it is rich in phospholipids with unsaturated hydrocarbon tails. Because of kinks in the tails where double bonds are located, unsaturated hydrocarbon tails cannot pack together as closely as saturated hydrocarbon tails, and this makes the membrane more fluid. Membranes must be remain in the form of fluid to work properly. They are usually about as fluid as salad oil. When a membrane solidifies, its permeability changes and enzymatic proteins in the membrane may become inactive if their activity requires them to be able to move within the membrane. However, membranes that are too fluid cannot support protein function either. Therefore, extreme environments in which organisms have to live pose a challenge for life, resulting in evolutionary adaptations that include differences in the membrane lipid compositions. Now, second part is the membrane proteins and their functions. Now we come to the mosaic aspect of the fluid mosaic model. Somewhat like a tile mosaic, a membrane is a random collection of different proteins often clustered together in groups embedded in the fluid matrix of the lipid bilayer. More than 50 kinds of proteins have been found so far in the plasma membrane of red blood cells. For example, phospholipids form the main fabric of the environment, but proteins determine most of the membrane's functions. Different types of cells contain sets of membrane proteins, and the various membranes within a cell each have a unique collection of proteins. There are two major populations of membrane proteins. One is integral proteins and second one is a peripheral proteins. First of all, integral proteins, which penetrate the hydrophobic interior of the lipid bilayer. The majority are transmembrane proteins, which span the membrane. Other integral proteins extend only part way into the hydrophobic interior. The hydrophobic regions of an integral protein consist of one or more stretches of non-polar amino acids, usually coiled into alpha helix. The hydrophilic parts of the molecule are exposed to the aqueous solution on either side of the membrane. Some proteins also have a hydrophilic channel through their center that allows passage of hydrophilic substances. Now, peripheral proteins, which are not embedded in the lipid bilayer at all. They are appendages loosely bound to the surface of the membrane, often to expose parts of integral protein. On the cytoplasmic side of the plasma membrane, some membrane proteins are held in place by attachment to the cytoskeleton, and on the extracellular side, certain membrane proteins are attached to fibers of the extracellular matrix, like integrins are one type of integral protein. These attachments combine to give animal cell a stronger framework than the plasma membrane alone could provide. Now, let me discuss regarding the role of membrane carbohydrates in cell-cell recognition. Cell-cell recognition, a cell's ability to distinguish one type of neighboring cell from another, is crucial to the functioning of an organism. It is important, for example, in the sorting of cells into tissues and organs in an animal embryo. It is also the basic for the rejection of foreign cells by the immune system, an important line of defense in vertebrate animals. Cells recognize other cells by binding to molecules, often containing carbohydrates, on the extracellular surface of the plasma membrane. Membrane carbohydrates are usually short, branched chain of less than 15 sugar units. Some are covalently bonded to lipids, forming molecules called glycolipids. Recall that glyco refers to the presence of carbohydrate. However, most are covalently bonded to proteins, which are thereby called glycoproteins. The carbohydrates on the extracellular side of the plasma membrane vary from species to species among individuals of the same species, and even from one cell type to another in a single individual. The diversity of the molecules and their location on the cell surface enable membrane carbohydrates to function as markers that distinguish one cell from another. For example, the 4 human blood types designated A, B, AB and O reflect variation in the carbohydrate part of glycoproteins on the cell surface of red blood cells. Now, how membrane structure results in selective permeability. The biological membrane is a beautiful example of a supramolecular structure. Many molecules ordered in a higher level of organization with emergent properties beyond those of the individual molecules. The fluid mosaic model helps to explain how membranes regulate the cell's molecular traffic. A steady traffic of small molecules and ions moves across the plasma membrane in both the directions. Consider the chemical exchanges between a muscle cell and the extracellular fluid. Sugars, amino acids and other nutrients enter the cell and metabolic waste products leave the cell. The cell takes in oxygen for use in cellular respiration and expels CO2. Also, the cell regulates its concentration of inorganic ions such as sodium, potassium, calcium and chloride by shuttling them one way or the other across the plasma membrane. In spite of heavy traffic through them, cell membranes are selectively permeable and substances do not cross the barrier indiscriminately. The cell is able to take up some small molecules and ions and exclude others. Also, substances that move through the membranes do so at different rates. The permeability of the lipid bilayer. Non-polar molecules such as hydrocarbons, carbon dioxide and oxygen are hydrophobic and can therefore dissolve in the lipid bilayer of the membrane and cross it easily without the aid of membrane proteins. However, the hydrophobic interior of the membrane impedes the direct passage of ions and polar molecules which are hydrophilic through the membrane. Polar molecules such as glucose and other sugars pass only slowly through a lipid bilayer, and even water, an extremely small polar molecule, does not cross very rapidly. A charged atom or molecule and its surrounding shell of water find the hydrophobic interior of the membrane even more difficult to penetrate. Furthermore, the lipid bilayer is only one aspect of the gatekeeper system responsible for the selective permeability of a cell. Proteins present into the membrane play key roles in the regulating transport.
At the end, to summarize the topic, the cell membrane is a biological membrane which is also known as the cytoplasmic membrane and plasma membrane. Cell membrane separate the interior of all cells from the outside environment. It consists of the phospholipid bilayer with embedded proteins. Phospholipids provide the basic structure of cell membranes, where they aggregate in a closed sheet-like structure, the lipid bilayer. 20% or more of the weight of a membrane consists of protein molecules, many of them glycoproteins. Peripheral proteins are associated with just one phase of the bilayer. Integral proteins extend completely through the cell membrane and may twist in and out of the membrane many times before ending on the outside with a hydrophilic sugar group. The overall structure of cell membranes is represented by the fluid mosaic model. The cell membrane is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules and controls the movement of substances in and out of the cells. The basic function of the cell membrane is to protect the cell from its surroundings. Thank you.